to the Exit and Build Health Summit. I am Rebecca Bush with Live Free Academy. I am honored to be joined today by Renita Brannan. We are going to go into some great content that I actually hold very near and dear to my heart, because as many of you may or may not know, I have suffered from chronic pain pretty much the last 15 years of my life. It's been a big point of contention for me, for my family. It's limited me in many ways, having arthritis in my neck, reverse curvature in my spine, and slight scoliosis from years and years of gymnastics, among other car accidents and whiplash and things. So when I stumble upon, different healing modalities or different diet hacks, if you will, that can have an anti-inflammatory response or that can have any benefit to alleviating some of this pain, like even, things like CBD, which we'll get into the cannabinoid system, and even kratom. I mean, all of this has really helped my life so that I can manage the pain in a sense. But I wanted to allow Renita to really go into kind of her backstory also, because there's a great opportunity for folks to actually utilize some very, very interesting technology. It's actually a patch, and I've used it myself the last few months, which has helped with my pain, and it's been actually really life-changing. So without further ado, Renita is going to introduce herself, explain a little bit about her background, and also go into this really innovative technology, which, just like me, hopefully for you also could help manage your pain, among many other health benefits.
Oh, thank you so much, beautiful. I appreciate that introduction. So proud of everything that you guys have going on. I mean, I love freedom, so this is where it's at. Everyone should be getting on this, following the advice and incredible information you're giving out. But you're probably wondering who I am. I'm Renita Brannan. I think it's important when you're learning something, you know who you're learning from. And there's always a backstory, right? So a little bit about myself. I love the Lord Jesus. I've been in health and wellness for 25 years. I'm a certified clinical exercise specialist, personal trainer, group fitness instructor. I actually have over 25 different modalities of fitness certifications. In addition to that, I'm a master trainer for many, many organizations, teaching others how to lead fitness and nutrition, right? In addition to that, I recently became certified in delay the disease. So I work with people that have a lot of neurological conditions, whether it's Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that, where just part of the aging process, right? It's important to know how to combat that through nutrition and exercise. And like you said, alternative modalities of healing. There's so many now. And then as we go on here, like I actually was the NBC health and fitness expert. So I had my own show on TV for 8.5 years on our NBC affiliate up in Bismarck, North Dakota. I'll get into that in a second. This is my family. I have amazing sons, Beau, Truitt, and Rocco, my husband, Scott, of almost 24 years now. But we love health. We love wellness. We love living life to the fullest. And we know that life is more fun when you're healthy. And so a little bit about the backstory of what I was doing with the news. I was on the news for 8.5 years. Many weeks I was actually the co-host for the morning show in North Dakota. Probably a viewing audience of 400,000 people. I loved it. I loved helping people get well, be well, and stay well. They allowed me to talk solutions for health. Well, all of that changed when the pandemic hit, right? When that hit, everybody was thinking differently. They were acting differently. And I actually did a segment on the news talking about this is the perfect time to take control of your health because you're all sitting at home, right? Because, for years, people use the excuse of I don't have time. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to cook. Yeah. I don't have time to exercise. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to get everybody in the shape of their lives because they're finally at home and they have time. And so I kind of was going down that avenue, started talking about solutions. Vitamin D3, vitamin A protects the epithelial lining of the lungs. I mean, everything I could give them to help them feel hopeful, secure, safe, and empowered while they were sitting at home. And did a segment talking a lot about vitamin D and the importance of breathing and exercise, and actually to turn off the news because when you watch all the negative, it actually suppresses your immune system, right? So I was talking about that. Well, and they also knew at the same time that I was very pro-choice when it came to the vaccine. I'm very much pro-education. My last 2 boys have not had a single vaccine. My oldest son, I stopped when I figured it out when he was 2.5, and he's 23, right? So
I was like, amazing. Kudos to
way
you.
Ahead of, way ahead of the curve. And I took a beating for it, right? Like as a young mom, like I remember people around me saying, you're going to kill your kid. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, have you read the science? But I believe God uses your journey to prepare you for what's happening and coming, right? So what happened was, I would meet moms. I met a group of moms, 50 moms, and this has had to be like 20 years ago, that literally sat around a table and told me how post-vax, their kid, 18-month-old, was normal on the way to the vaccine, and on the way home, all they saw after the vaccine was a blank look in the backseat. The eyes. And so I heard too many of those stories not to like lean in. Like I'm like, I got to learn this. Like these moms aren't getting together and lying. Like they're like literally traveling to Africa to get some rare milk to give to their kids and hope it helps with their autism. Right. So I leaned in and I really educated myself. And I'm just a believer in educating yourself, because when you educate yourself, you can make better decisions. Right. And so I did that. And we stopped vaccinating. Like I said, the last two are 17 and 15, haven't had one, are incredibly abundantly healthy. And so with that being said, the news station knew that about me a little bit. And so they were coming into this big push where they were going to be talking about the vaccine. So I got a call from the news station. They said, Renita, you're just moving in a different direction than us. And I said, different direction? I said, my direction has been and always will be health and healing. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. And they're like, yeah, it's just a different direction than we're moving in right now. And I said, this is the perfect opportunity to get all your viewers well. Like, this is it, And they were like, not so much.
I think we'll censor you. Our advertisers are actually Pfizer and Moderna. So bye.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because there would be moments earlier in my television career where I'd come home from my husband. I'd say, I was on the news talking today about how Coca-Cola should not be sponsoring sugar studies. Like there's a total misalignment there. Yeah. And my husband would be laughing, and I'm like, and then I'd get calling to the station manager, who was a Christian, by the way. And he would say to me, Renita, be careful. Coca-Cola's our ad dollars.
Yeah.
And so, mildly, they were like tapping my hands all along over the years. But I think when I just came out saying, hey, listen, we can be well. We don't have to succumb to this fear. If you live in a state of fear, it is never going to lead you toward healing. Right. And so when I just came out with that strong message, they didn't like it. So, I was cut. And at the time, it was a little devastating, because I wasn't aware of what I'm aware of now, right? How we knew that media had such control and has such hands in this whole narrative that's played out. But I do believe that the Lord gives us the next big thing. I believe in glory to glory. And not saying that down in that in between, there's not a valley where you're sad, you're disappointed. You're like, what am I, you're kind of just standing there, like with your hands, like, what did I do wrong? Right. But then I feel like as time goes, God just reveals to you exactly where you're supposed to be. And I honestly said to my husband, I don't know if I would have ever cut that gig with the news station, because I loved it so much. I loved running into the 70-year-old ladies that say, Renita, I'm pooping so much better because you told me to eat flaxseed and I'm eating it, right? Those stories never got old for me. And so I said to my husband, I probably would have never shut down that gig. But God came in there and he said, you know what? There's a misalignment, kid.
Pushed you in a totally different direction. You can impact even more people now.
That's right. Way more. And that's happening as we speak. So, so just did a lot with all that over the years with the news station. I had cooking segments. I had exercise segments. I filmed on beaches. It was just really amazing what I actually did. But when we live in freedom, it really begins with two beliefs. The future is going to be better than where we're at now. I believe that with all my heart. I do believe the best is yet to come. And guess who's got the power? I've got the power. You've got the power. We've got the power. We've got to take back our power by believing that we can, right? So if one door closes, it's not actually closed because God hates you. You got to start saying, God is for me. Like, what is in this that I'm supposed to be learning to move my life forward, because my God loves me, right? And so for me, on the journey, for literally 25 years, I've been teaching nutrition, teaching fitness. Something that's really kind of a fun thing that I've done is I actually helped the state of North Dakota to lose 100,000 pounds of fat.
Wow.
So we are the Midwest,
anyone who wants to lose weight watching this, there's definitely some good information they'll be learning later on too on that. So that's a lot. That is a lot of people's lives to be impacted, a lot of weight loss. So keep going, keep sharing.
Well, I would go, when I was on that journey, I saw it happen. I ended up creating a plate, to be honest with you. It's called the pfcplate.com. You can check it out if you want, but it's actually a tool. It's a visual tool, because I realized the first stage of learning is visual. We can talk all day long, but when people see something, it's sticky, right? It's a neural pattern. Their eyes are the gates to their soul, and they retain it better. And so what I realized, I was going to all these, Native American reservations throughout North Dakota, because of course they have terrible metabolic disease, terrible diabetes, oh my gosh, sexual abuse. I mean, we could go on and on, right? It's really sad. But long story short, I would go there and I would literally see and feel the chains breaking off of these people, these elders. I would pack out gymnasiums with like 400 people in the school, and it would be the moms, the dads, the kids, and the grandparents and the great grandparents. And they'd all come in to learn about how to take control of their blood sugar, because these people were like losing feet because of diabetes, right?
Oh my
Neuropathy
gosh.
was like prevalent. Everybody was maxing out their meds, and everybody was like sicker than dogs, right? So I went up
like
there
it was by design.
hello, right?
Gosh.
And so went out there, and it was really crazy. After doing that for about a year, I mean, I literally saw thousands of people get off their metformin, their insulin, lose 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds. Their families began to restore their health. And I got called from like the Bureau of Indian Affairs, like in DC one day. And I was like, who is this? And it was some lady from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. She goes, is this Renita Brannan? I was like, yeah. She's like, everybody is saying your name on every reservation. What on earth are you doing with these people? We've never seen the drop in diabetes that we've seen in the last year. Wow. And I said, actually, I'm just teaching them like nutrition fundamentals, and like how to eat right and how to balance their blood sugar with food, not with a drug. And she was like, oh my gosh, tell me more. Anyway, so the concept I was teaching was macronutrients, right? PFC. I was also teaching micronutrition, like people need vitamins, minerals, and trace minerals. Our bodies need those minerals to properly detoxify. I mean, if we're B vitamin, B12 deficient, B1 deficient, all of these B vitamins are crucial with the methylation and the detoxification cycles. So if we're B deficient, which, by the way, let's talk about how crazy this is, that some doctors still say you don't need a multivitamin and mineral. I'm like, if anyone is telling you that, you need to run the opposite direction as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it is impossible. I mean, our family, probably like your family, we eat like champs. Like I'm spending like $400 a week on organic groceries. Like we're in it to win it. I'm buying like raw goat's milk. We're buying,
beef
half
share.
of beef share. Yeah, I was gonna say the half of the beef. Like we got it all, right? But the bottom line is some people don't have that access to that, right? So in that case, in many cases, I think all of our cases, just because we're getting inundated here with chemicals, air, water, food, I mean, electronically with EMFs, we need the micronutrition. We need iodine, right? Because what did they give the people after Hiroshima? Boom, iodine, so they wouldn't all get thyroid cancer. So, but we're not eating beef liver, right? Because the beef liver is full of the B vitamins. And so with that being said, we do need micronutrition. We do need the vitamins and minerals. And then of course, phytonutrients. Those are the dark leafy greens, the beautiful purple blueberries, right? Like these are the things that we need to actually reduce inflammation in the body. Antioxidants, right? Reduce oxidative damage. And then we could talk a lot, because I heard you mention the endocannabinoid system, and I'm a big fan of that. Piezoelectricity, we'll talk about that in a second. And phototherapy, which is really what I want to focus in on today. So I've kind of reviewed this with the macro, the PFC. So I would teach people how to balance their blood sugar nutritionally. And again, if they want to check out pfcplate.com, I've got tons of free resources for them to click and print over there to really gain control of their nutritional habits. Micronutrients, again, the water-soluble vitamins, the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, and K, right? If we're not getting the K2, guess what? We are just loading up the calcium in our arteries. We need to be getting the K2 to move the calcium from the arteries to the bones, to the teeth, where it belongs, right? So we could talk about fat-soluble vitamins. I mean, I literally could give you a 2-hour presentation on each of these topics, but the macro minerals, the trace minerals, the very small amounts of those trace minerals that, by the way, used to be in our food supply because it was grown in the earth. Right?
Yeah, now it's like monocropping and
oh my gosh,
processed
right?
Everything. It's not even food. It's like, what is this?
What are we
bioengineered?
Right? Bioengineered
oh
everything.
Gosh.
And I've got organic farmer friends that are like, Renita, if you only knew, like the topsoil used to be inches deep, and now it's like there's hardly nothing left. So the bottom line is we've got to be supplementing. And of course, I'm pretty radical about electrolytes and the electrically charged minerals, because I believe that they've created the entire heart disease industry. And the reason they've done that is because the heart actually functions on a sodium potassium pump. And if you are not getting the proper potassium, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know anybody who does.
Yeah.
I had a group of 100 warrior ladies, like they were just amazing. And I said, okay, we're going to try to get 4,700 milligrams a day because that's what we're supposed to be getting. 4,700 milligrams of potassium. Let's get there. The potassium a day. We're supposed to be getting 1,500 to 2,500 of the sodium, the right kind of sodium, like the Celtic salt, the Redmond's real salt, those healthier salts, not white table salt. Yeah, not the iodized salt, right? Because that's like 3 minerals, it's got 3 minerals, sodium, chloride, and iodine, right? We want the Celtic salt that has over 80 minerals. Anyway, long story short, I realized no one's getting 4,700 milligrams of potassium. If you go to your doctor, he'll tell you, eat a banana. A banana has 300 milligrams. You need 4,700.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of bananas.
And if you shouldn't be doing that anyway, because there's 21 grams of sugar per banana, so we don't want you to have a blood sugar issue. But the point is like, you go to your doctor and that's their solution. Eat a banana. I'm like, listen, they would need 15. Okay. So again, they're not educated in nutrition. We can't expect them to know what they don't know. I realized that a long time ago. You just don't know what you don't know. No matter what degree you have, there's just things in your life, in my life, our lives that we just don't know. That's how we learn it, right? The potassium, I had this group of gals. I said, let's do 4,700 milligrams a day. And we all need the 1,500 to 2,500 of the sodium. And it's literally like a pickleball court in your body. Sodium, potassium, sodium, potassium. It's literally makes up the cell wall. It is called the sodium potassium pump. It regulates all of our pumping of our heart, regulates our blood pressure, right? Which is why everybody is hypertensive because nobody gets 4,700 milligrams. So I did this challenge. I threw it out there to these 80 warrior ladies. I said, let's do it. Do you know that, these people were not like, half in, half out. They were like all in. Okay, we're going to do it, Renita. Like we're up for the challenge. The highest one lady got in 7 days was 4,300 milligrams. These were not slouches. So that child, and these were like warrior ladies. Like they were in it. They were counting it. They were being diligent with it, focused, and they weren't getting it. So what do you think the average person gets? Oh my gosh. No wonder everybody's got hypertension. If you look at the research, it says 600 to 800 milligrams is what people get in a day of potassium. We need 4,700 milligrams. It will change your blood pressure within days. You will no longer be hypertensive if you just start being mindful of this. So in addition to thyroid hormones and everything else, which deals with weight loss, right? So we could talk about that. Phyto, talked about that. That's going to be like in the carotenoids, the flavonoids, the resveratrol, things in the dark leafy greens, the grapes, the blueberries, all of those things, beta carotene, like in carrots, right? Those things that are very, very important for us to really combat inflammation in the body. And then the endocannabinoid system, which I mentioned earlier, where this is a signaling system for the whole body. North Dakota actually helped to rewrite our state law with the legislative body. They were going to only allow CBD to be sold in pharmacies. Well, at the time, I was really involved in a CBD business, and I was like, well, that will just like terminate my business. And so I went to the state legislator, and that day, everybody presenting ahead of me about CBD literally was high. Well, I am not high. I'm a fast talker, fast mover.
That's not how you show up, guys.
No, my dad was a Marine. He said, don't do drugs. We listened. And so as a result, like I went to this thing, and here was all these legislators about to say, hey, the only place CBD could be sold in the state of North Dakota. This is right when they were rewriting the Farm Bill. And I said, can I talk? I said to this attorney ahead of me, he goes, do you have anything prepared? I was like, I'm just going to tell the truth, like I like to do. And so I stood up and I educated all of them. I said, do you guys know the difference between a Pomeranian and a Rottweiler? Like they're all dogs, but they're two different things, right? Like, a sweet little dog versus like a killer dog, right? And so
I know because we have a Pomeranian, so I can speak from firsthand experience.
Little honey makers. It's a little honey maker, right? But the bottom line is, I said we cannot put CBD in the same category as all of this. You need to have a better understanding. Well, I gave this incredible presentation for about 30 minutes. They all were silent, and when finally the gavel hit, and they said, you know what? We're tabling this. Renita, can you come back tomorrow and help us rewrite our state legislative bill? I said, absolutely. Wow. So I actually helped to rewrite the whole laws with CBD in North Dakota, which was so I'm a big advocate of the endocannabinoid system.
It's so new too. And there's so much confusion around it. Like I remember the first time I tried CBD, because we have our company Brave Botanicals, and I put it under my tongue and it hit me different than like the gummies and everything. And immediately like the pain relief thing, back to that, but it is very relaxing as well. So if I'm trying to work or be productive, it's like CBD is great, but I feel like there's not enough awareness around like how to use it or how to, utilize it. Or so that's great that you went.
And again,
kind of
there's a lot of
informative
fear
you
mongering
wanted.
with it, right? Like, I think, again, if we just educate ourselves and continue to educate ourselves and grow as human beings, guess what's going to happen? We'll be more empowered to make proper decisions, right? So I
Yes.
feel like sometimes we
Amen.
just take one person's opinion, whether it's about CBD or patches or anything, right? And we take that as gospel. And I'm like, well, let's like dig in here. You know what I mean? Let's dig in and ask some questions, look at the research, ask some people who have used it, and let's get some feedback instead of just taking one person's opinion that may or may not have any experience with it. And then the electricity system, like we could talk about this a lot, but the bottom line is every time that we move our bodies, like movement heals our bodies, because every time you move, every time you exercise, it actually creates more electrons. Most Americans, most people are very, very electron deficient. And that is why we get sick. Most people don't know that, like, I don't know if you know much about voltage, but we're supposed to be at a minus 25 millivolts is where our body functions like healthy. Well, the closer that gets to zero, the sicker we get. At a positive 30 on the other side, it actually is cancer in the body. And that's a whole nother conversation. So we want to have this negative electron. The negative electron, the charges that we want are from the earth, from the sun, from movement, right? Yep. And grounding. We got to get it. The things that are stealing our electricity are the cell phones, the blue light, right? All the processed food. Again, back to the food. Food, our organic produce should be electron rich, right? Because it's coming out of the soil, right? So it should be electron rich, but because they've stripped the soil, they sprayed the soil, like it's not what it once was. So, but the fastest way to increase the piezoelectricity of the body or piezoelectricity of the body is actually to exercise. And when you do it, you are literally like a rechargeable battery. It's amazing what happens. I mean, how many of you feel better when you're done exercising?
Oh, yeah. It's like a high almost. Like all the endorphins are like,
it
woo,
is.
like the runner's high feeling. It's like undeniable. You just feel great. It's like addicting almost.
It's like an electronic charge almost in the body, an electric charge. And you said it. I mean, dopamine, serotonin, don't forget, and kephalins. And kephalins are the natural pain suppressor that God gave us in our bodies to suppress pain, which are activated every single time we exercise. So we could get more into piezo, but we're going to move on. And I really want to talk about the phototherapy. Like, what is phototherapy? Because this is a new concept for most people. The biggest example I can give of phototherapy, which everybody can relate to, is the sun in the sky. You walk outside, your body produces vitamin D3 when you get access to that sun. It's powerful, right? And so we've known this for a long time, which is another reason why, Bill Gates is trying to cover the sun. While they tell you to stay out of the sun, they lathered us with all the chemical sunscreens. By the way, I read the books, The Politics of Cancer by Dr. Samuel Epstein. I went back to school for my doctorate in holistic nutrition about 20 years ago. And when I went back to school, I read this book, The Politics of Cancer by Dr. Samuel Epstein. And after I read that book, there was no more birth control. There was no dyeing my hair. There was no there was no nothing. That book, like, there was no eating hot dogs. There was no nothing. Like, I quit everything because that book said basically the cancer industry is creative. They invented the cancer industry with all this garbage, essentially, right? That we bought into because of the television ads that, again, we're seeing over and over and over. We think, I need that, right? So it's that repetition. But anyway, long story short, the phototherapy is literally, I believe, the therapy that everybody should plug into right now, effective immediately, because it's as easy as getting your eyes on sunrise. It's as easy as getting your eyes on sunset. These are all free things for all of us to take advantage of. God put that sun in the sky for a reason, right? It is a healing machine, and our bodies are actually healing machines. I mean, think about animals. When they get sick, they lay in the sun, right? Most people don't know that back in the late 1800s, there were literally light clinics. There were light clinics where they would have these patients that had tuberculosis, of all things. TB, tuberculosis. And guess what they would do? They opened up entire light clinics where they lay these tuberculosis patients out in the sun. And guess what? They got better. And all that information has been
that's why when you talked about vitamin D on your mainstream news program, they kicked you off because you were too onto something.
You're exactly right. So I want to get a little bit more into this phototherapy. So according to the Cleveland Clinic, which again, I don't take any of these major establishments for gospel anymore. I mean, I might include them to see what they say on my journey as I'm doing my own due diligent research, right? Because you are your best doctor. Let's just say it. You are your best doctor. No one's coming to save you. You got to grab the bull by the horns here and take back your power by believing you can. So phototherapy is a form of treatment that uses ultraviolet light to treat a variety of health conditions. You guys, the biggest example I can give any of you is if you had a baby with jaundice, what did they put the baby under?
Oh, yeah.
Light, right? And so also think about produce. If your produce is not ripening, what do? Where do you set the produce in? Light, and it ripens like in a day, right? So all of these changes are happening through light. It's incredible. So like it says, light is crucial for hormone balancing. You want to lose weight, get to an island for a period of time. You'll come back, your thyroid's functioning better. It's wild how it works, you guys. And of course, it's linked to skin health, longevity, sleep, and of course our moods always get better. It seems like there's nothing helps but a little beach time. You always come back from a beach healthier and happier, right?
I remember for seasonal depression when I used to live in Indiana, there were lights that doctors would prescribe that would give you kind of like fake vitamin D, I guess.
Yeah,
it was like,
I have one.
Like a formal, like, hey, this is like going to help you because there was no sun for like 6 months.
Exactly. I know that because I'm in North Dakota, but I do have a D3 light up there, and we've been exposed. You've been exposed to other light therapies. Like I've had an infrared sauna for 20 years. And
I was just in an infrared sauna right before this interview.
There it is.
How it works. It's
there
so
it is.
Lovely.
I love how it works. Yeah. So the point is like infrared sauna is a form of infrared therapy. We've got low level light lasers now. Women, when they go get surgical procedures like laparoscopies, like for female stuff, that's done with lasers now. So light therapy is not like foreign. You just maybe haven't talked about it a whole lot or been educated about it. But what it really does is it's translated into electrical signals in our brain and body. So we've been really trained biochemically. So let's say that biochemically is eat this response is going to happen. I'm guilty, but I'm a nutrition coach, right? But take this drug and this chemical reaction is going to happen. Take this supplement and this chemical. So we've been really trained biochemically to put something in our mouth, and as a result, we'll have a biochemical response. The drug industry has been diligent with this for 50 years, right? And so what I'm here to challenge everybody with today, because I'm definitely here to challenge your belief system, is what if we could stimulate our bioelectrical system with light, and that actually stimulates the biochemical system. And that happens in the example of the sun with D3. You don't walk outside and open your mouth and the sun drops a D3 supplement into your tongue and you swallow it through your belly. That doesn't happen. But the light that's hitting our skin, the light that's hitting our epidermis, and then eventually our dermis layers of our skin actually activate healing mechanisms that create hormonal balance, and especially with D3 production. The point is, you guys, bioelectrical controls the thing that we've been trained on for so long, the nutrition, the drugs, the supplements. What if the bioelectricity actually controls the biochemical? Because it does. How incredible is this to think about? So again, hormonal signals, light's activating many healing mechanisms of the body. It activates peptides. I'm not sure how much you know about peptides, but peptides are like the hot topic in the natural health, fitness, nutrition world right now.
I've had like collagen peptides.
You got it, baby. Collagen peptides, or another one that people like to talk about is insulin, is actually a hormone peptide. We all know about insulin. Hello, diabetes, right? So when we talk about insulin or collagen, those are actually peptides that our body is actually able to make. But as we age, the peptide production, obviously, just like everything, slows down and goes down. So then we're not able to repair that skin as quickly, or, regulate that, that blood sugars efficiently. So that happens kind of with the aging process as well. But what if we had a solution? What if this photobiomodulation, which is a fancy word for phototherapy, what if this photobiomodulation was like literally the secret to activating all of this incredible healing mechanisms in our body? And the truth is, it is. It is. When you look at this down here, these transcription factors can lead to increased expression of genes related to protein synthesis, cell migration and proliferation, anti-inflammatory signaling, ding, 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 anti-apoptotic proteins. I mean, that basically means like shutting down cancer cells, antioxidant enzymes, stem cells. Look at this. Stem cells appear to be particularly susceptible to low-level light therapy, which we're moving toward the patch here, because the low-level light therapy is exactly what's happening with the patch. So this is some things that we see with anything with dealing with light therapy and peptide therapy. Your body makes peptides. They're strings of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. But as we age, they drastically slow down. But what if we could stimulate the body to make our own peptides, ding, 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 with light? And we can do it, you guys. We can do it through phototherapy. So how my journey got started with the patch, I would like to share. This is my mom. She was diagnosed with Parkinson 6 years ago. And she was not able to write. She wasn't able to brush her teeth. Her penmanship had gone to a line. She would get stuck in the car for 30 minutes. She had periodontal disease terribly. I mean, she had a tremor terribly. I mean, it was awful. And a friend of mine out of Canada who broke out of the corrupt medical system up in Canada, she's a nurse. She called me up and she said, you got to try this patch, this phototherapy patch on your mom. I know she had, was diagnosed with this neurological condition. And again, I should preface this with saying, we don't treat, cure, or prevent a disease. God is the one who heals you. You just got to get in alignment with what you need to heal. That's the truth. But my mom got this patch from my friend Doris in Canada. She started wearing it. And it was the 11th day I walked in, and my mom was actually walking without her walker at 8 in the morning.
That must have been so amazing to see, like unbelievable almost.
I don't know if any of you are, if any of you are advocates for your aging parents, which is a whole, I mean, I could give a 2-hour talk on that, how we need to be the advocates for our aging parents, because I know people whose parents are in nursing homes on 38 medications and they're 98 pounds. So that's a whole nother topic, because we need to stand in the gap for our aging loved ones. But long story short, my mom was walking without the walker. I was like, what in the earth is going on over here? I'm very acutely aware of what they're doing with their supplementation. I knew nothing had changed except the patch, right? The patch was the only.
And how long was she using it? You said just 2 days or
11 days.
11 days. Okay, so almost 2 weeks. But that's
2
like amazing.
Yep. And I could go on with her like success of that, but I want to show you my dad. My dad had these legs right here, and my mom was sitting at the kitchen table that morning, and I said, Dad, I think you should try this patch that Mom's been wearing. He said, I thought it was like for neurological stuff. And I said, I don't know what it's for, but if it did that to Mom, maybe it'll help you too. Yeah, it can't hurt. Well, he had been dealing with these oozing, very swollen legs for about 6 months. Just drove him nuts. I mean, honestly, we went to 12 doctors. This is the failure of the medical system right here. 12 doctors, heart doctors, kidney doctors. The dermatologist told my dad, who's just a hardcore Marine, you're going to have to live with these legs. My dad's like, you can go to hell. And so we weren't having that. But long story short, I said, Dad, let's put a patch on you. He said, okay, let's give it a shot. This was my dad's legs 24 hours later. Now, if I wouldn't have this picture to show you, I don't know if I myself would believe it, because it was so drastic and so incredible. I mean, when I saw what happened, I was like, this is a miracle. What the heck is in that patch that Dora sent, right? Because I'm like, how did that do that? Like to Mom and now Dad, right? And so the oozing never oozed again. The edema, the inflammation completely gone. I mean, you can see it. Within 5 weeks, he actually got completely off of all of his blood pressure medications, which is a whole other story. This is my friend Penny. This is her hands. She had terrible eczema after she had cancer. And like she said, look at this. She sends me this the 5th day on the patch, before and after. She says, thank you for helping me get my life back.
Wow, that's not something to take lightly. That's
no, I'm going to be honest. I get these inbox messages every day. My husband and I now have, probably like you and your husband, we have a miracle inbox. So every day we are.
I'm going to start one of those.
I mean, I love it. I mean, literally in the last year now, I've been at this 18 months. We've seen thousands of stories like this. So, I mean, if it's doing that in 5 days, like what could it do for your health? And of course, we see amazing things with skin. I had a big old age spot on my right cheek. My esthetician friend would shave it off, whatever it's called, microdermabrasion. It would come back. And it was about week 6. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, that age spot is 100% gone. I looked at my husband. I said, well, that was obviously an inside job. And anyway, my moles fell off my stomach. Like I could just go on and on when it's done. Helps me to sleep on the 4th day of wearing the patch. I was sleeping through the night, which was a blessing because I was a non-sleeper. So I could show you this all day long. But the bottom line is, it's not just my story or your story. It's everybody else that's watching this, right? Because their story, I want to know their miracle. I want to know what it does for them. Just tapping into this phototherapy technology. It's so affordable. It's so easy. Anybody can do it. I mean, I got 95-year-olds patching every day. And by the way, my 3 athletic sons that are nothing but solid muscle, my 23-year-old NCAA athlete, which we could talk about that college system, how corrupt it is all day long, but we won't even go there. He was one of the only guys on the track team that didn't get the vaccine, and he caught hell for it. I mean, his coach belittled him. I should probably go back and sue that damn university. But anyway, he got out. I said, get out of there. When he got out, his last track season was the best track season of his career. He broke all of his personal records. He had no inflammation. He didn't have to go see the trainer once for an injury. He said, Mom, the difference is I was wearing the patch. I was wearing the patch. And so it's not just for old, sick people. Like it's for all of us. Like it's for every one of us that are looking to upgrade our health and our lives.
When I was talking to the person who helped me get set up, he said that when you reach a certain age, like I think he said 30, your body just stops producing whatever it was that used to keep the youthful, the skin healthy, the, pain in check and all this. And by 60, it's like basically gone is what he said. Yeah. Or explain if I remember correctly. Is that
Let me show it to you. I have it right here. So he's talking about stem cells. And so the New England Journal of Medicine.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. He stated that the number one indicator of wellness is actually correlated to it's actually directly linked to how many stem cells we have in our body. Now, I'll be honest, we were going to take my mom to Tijuana for the stem cell injections. But my biggest question, which is always my question, is what's in the needle, right? Like I love the Lord Jesus, so I don't want like aborted baby fetuses or whatever they talk. I was like nervous about that. In addition to that, they wanted 20 grand to come to Tijuana. And they told us we might have to come back for multiple visits because it doesn't always work the first time. And so my brothers are incredibly frugal. They're like, we're not spending 20 grand. My mom's like, I don't want to go to Tijuana, and long story short, we do that. Yeah. But over the next 30 days, that's actually when Doris, I always say God had a plan because 30 days later, Doris reached out to me with the patch for my mom. But what I didn't know is this, a teenager has a lot of these stem cells, right? Which is why kids get better fast. They recover quickly from injury. A lot of kids don't develop diseases. I mean, now it's kind of changing a little bit because of our food supply and air quality and the EMS. Yeah. But typically, children recover fast. They bounce back fast. Very few kids, like there's next to no deaths from the pandemic, right? And so, or pandemic, let's call it what it was. But by age 30, with your stem cells, that number's dropped to a 60% reduction. Now, I don't know about you, but I think 30 is like incredibly young. Like 30 is a young age. So if you have a 60% reduction of stem cells, these stem cells are the cell that can repair any other organ in the body. So when you're born, do you know that your very first cell created in your mother's womb is a stem cell? How cool is that? It divides and it literally makes all the organ systems, the heart, the lungs, the liver, all that, right? But what happens is as we age, we have less and less of these. So my poor dad, you saw the legs, he's 80. Yeah. He had a 95% reduction of stem cells. So I said, well, I think the reason the patch worked is you had like two circulating stem cells. And they were trying to find each other. Where are you? They couldn't find each other. They put the patch on and, everything changed for my dad when we put that patch on. So I think that is what you're referring to because it's powerful to understand the healing power of stem cells. So again, what if there was a way we could naturally increase stem cell production with light? Guess what? There is. Again, there is. You don't need a needle. You don't need a pill for every ill. We can naturally increase and improve our stem cell production and functioning with light, which is so cool. And actually with this David Schmidt, I want to tell you just briefly about him, the founder of this Lifewave. This guy is no slouch. 180 patents. I have one. It was like an act of God to get it. He has 180 patents. He's got over 90 clinical studies over the last 20 years. So this is not like a new, it just came out yesterday. He's been at the phototherapy realm for he created his first patch for the Navy SEALs to keep those guys alert and awake during Hell Week. And then guess who used it after the Navy SEALs? The female Stanford Olympic swim team. And guess what happened when they put the patches on? They broke their own PRs and they qualified for the Olympic swim team. So I always tell my husband, hey, listen, if this is good enough for the Navy SEALs and it's good enough for the Olympians, I need it, right? But anyway, this guy in 2008, just a genius, just humble. I love that he prays before he goes into the lab. But in 2008, he decided to focus his attention on stem cell research because he thought this is going to be like the grandpapa of what's coming down the pipeline with health and longevity and regeneration, right? Regenerative medicine is different than the juggernaut that we've seen in the last 30 years with our medical system, right? There's nothing about regeneration in our typical medical system right now. So we're moving into a time of regenerative medicine where we can actually regenerate the cells of our body, the muscles, the bones, the eyes. I mean, all of these organ systems. What I love about David is not only did he, study stem cells and had his hand on that, he got a patent He got a patent for the X39 patch, the patch that you're wearing. And let's just read what the patent says. I want to read directly the patent. It says may include, or let's come to the top. Embodiments enables a wearable phototherapy apparatus, which looks like this. Here it is. It's a patch. It looks like that.
On your neck, or you can
it's
put
about
it
the
like
size of a
belly
Band-Aid. Yep. We can just basically take the back of the patch off like that, kind of like a sticker. And you basically can put it anywhere on your body, or I like to wear it on the base of my neck or under my belly button. But you could put it on your point of pain if you wanted. But look at what his patent says, that the government issued him this patent. It provides a beneficial effect to the human body, such as activation of stem cells, improvements in strength, improvements in stamina, pain relief via a non-transdermal container. Non-transdermal means nothing leaches from the patch into your skin. It's just sitting on top of your skin, reflecting your own body light. That's all it's doing. So it's not like a transdermal pain patch where something's leaching into the body, right? So that's where it's kind of hard for people to wrap their minds around, like phototherapy. They're like, how does this patch work? What is it like giving me through my skin? Nothing. It's simply reflecting your own body light back into the body. So it says may include an optional transdermal container that releases or increases copper peptide. That's why we talked about pain and skin and all these things in a subject's body, GHKCU. The non-transdermal apparatus reflects or emits specific wavelengths of light to elevate levels of this copper peptide in the body. So this is literally what the patch is doing through light. It's not plugged in. It's not like an infrared sauna you need to plug it in. It's not like a laser that you need to plug in. It's not like, anything related with that you need like a 110 or 220 volts. Guess what? We put it on our body. It's reflecting our own body heat and light back into the body. How cool is that? So there's all kinds of studies on it. I think I'm over my time, but there's all kinds of studies on it. I could talk about this all day because it's
what we could do is I really appreciate, Renita, that you shared all of this. And I think what we could do is kind of wrap up here just like a minute, and then we'll go for the VIP section. Let's go into all the different types, because I know there's like 12 different types, right, of patches, and understanding what would work best for, different clients based on their needs. But if you could just sum up in a minute, like how can people learn more? Like where can they go to kind of see more testimonials, or like go on the website, see the opportunities to, wear one, or possibly be involved in a larger capacity?
Absolutely. Well, I think that a great place for you to get education is a website called thisisit.info.com. Thisisit.info.com is a great website. You can follow me on Facebook, message me. I will definitely get back to you and send you a direct link so that you can get started. I like everyone to get started at wholesale, because I feel like when it's affordable, you can do it for a long time. You can do it forever, probably, right?
Well, we're setting up to the livefree.academy/patch with you.
Okay,
that'll redirect to that page. So if that's easier for people to type in or whatever, but that's good too. So we can get people to sign up if they're seeing benefits, if their lives are changed, their family members' lives are changed, and wanting to help more people and learning how they can, become more engaged and really spread the good word. But thank you so much for sharing. Wow. I feel like your enthusiasm is just contagious, and it was so lovely diving in deep on, your background, all the information on diet and nutrition and even exercise and moving. And then of course, the practicalities of, utilizing this awesome technology. So thank you so much for your time, Renita. Thank you so much
for having me.
And for all of our VIPs, stick around. We are going to dive deep into a little bit more information on this exciting innovation.